Oh, it's a love thing, maybe, Jimmy? Is it a love thing? He wants general insights. Okay, let's see what we can do for Jimmy here. Do you want the link, Jimmy? He's like, hell no, I just gave this, told you what I want. General insights. Okay, let's see if I can get you up on the chart. And yeah. Oh, I got to redo it. Okay. We're coming. We're coming. Hold on. Hold on. Christy. Um, this should be it. Doesn't say Jimmy right there, but it does there, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Sweet. All right, Jimmy, we got you. We are here to work. So, look what Jimmy has on his chart right now tonight, guys. Do you see this? I can't draw on these charts because I have the transits up. So, it's a little bit hard to see. He's got vertex. This just jumped straight out. I mean, I just pulled up the chart and it just popped right out. Vertex 2256. Like this moment, Vertex is very fast moving and it's on his descendant, right? So this is like the love boat. That whole thing. It's the descendant, your partnership energy. You got Vertex there. But look, freaking Black Moon Lilith is with Vertex hand in hand. Oh my gosh. But the other thing too is Venus. Jimmy, you had Venus going through Virgo in your seventh house, right? And now you got Venus in Libra entering your eighth house. Yeah, your eighth house cusp line, 5 degrees. So Libra, Venus is at home in Libra. She's powerful there. By the way, before I forget, guys, there's a video coming up tonight. Um, yeah, there's a video. It's for the week of coming up, right? Yeah. It talks about Venus. It talks about Venus in Libra. So it's kind of relevant. And Venus being at home in Libra, diplomacy, fair, equality, right? The perfect diplomat knows just the right things to say. But, the scales of justice, right? We think of the courtroom and lawyers and that kind of energy. But going into your eighth house means a possibility for not only just like a love connection, but the possibility of a connection happening with a particular female. Now, right now, at this moment, you have Vertex and Black Moon Lilith on your descendant. And look at Jimmy's chart, his natal chart. His sun is at 23 degrees in Aries. Like, I can't make this stuff up. That's why when people come and I see certain things, I'm like, did you look at your chart before coming tonight? He's got a perfect trine, really strong trine, fire trine, very fiery. His sun is in his second house. So looking for the outlook, possibly on income or love, second house, how I receive what I value. So that can be money and that can be love. It can be both. We got 23 degrees, the vertex right there. The vertex represents a person or an event. It's usually fated energy. Like I was walking in the door, that person was walking out, we bumped into each other. Like it's that fated energy. The fact that freaking Black Moon Lilith is there, though, that kind of puts a rough start to it. It kind of makes it like, you bumped into somebody and, oh, I don't know, you broke their nose or some shit, like something like, I don't know, like it could have been great, but it ended up like a bad thing happened, or something that just made it really uncomfortable. So, with that said, let me kind of take a peek and see what else. We have Saturn that is now direct 0 degrees in Pisces in your first house. So, that's good news. And it's going through your first house. So, this is your physical body and it's your appearance. And I will just add something here for anybody listening. Whenever we have Saturn, Saturn is restrictions, it's discipline, it's rules, it's structure, and it's order. In Pisces is like fantasy, sci-fi, films, movies, It's also religion and spirituality. It's like all under that same, it's all in that same, it kind of like works on the other side of the brain, right? It's not intellectual. It's more about empathy and feelings and sensitivities, right? It's highly empathic energy. Pisces energy is like the sponge of the zodiac. Really sensitive, energetically sensitive. Pisces rules the feet. So keep that in mind. Anytime somebody has Saturn going through their first house and Pisces being ruler of the feet, sometimes there's things that happen. Like Eileen we were on a live one night and she was on the live from the emergency room. She was getting on or off or in and out of the car or the bus or whatever it was and broke her damn ankle or a bone in the foot. And Saturn was part of that. The moon was part of it. Like there was a lot of interesting things. And it was Aquarius, I think. I can't remember exactly. But for right now, Saturn is about restrictions. Now, Saturn isn't real strong in Pisces. Pisces has the power to kind of diminish some of Saturn's restrictive energy. And the fact that Saturn is going direct means it's not as powerful. It doesn't hold as much restrictions as it once did. What I'm seeing here, Jimmy, is the nice sextile. There's a nice sextile you're going to be getting to your Uranus. You have Uranus in Capricorn at 1 degree, Capricorn, and you have Uranus. These are both about being the authority figure, being the person in charge, but something exciting, new, and different. Capricorn is your work. Your work. So, like Christie's chart, your Capricorn energy is in your 11th house. Like it's friends, it's groups. It can be social causes, but it's professional because it's Cappy or something to do with your long-term goals and ambitions, your tangible long-term goals and ambitions. And it's Uranus. Saturn is right now a beneficial sextile. So for all the crazy energy that's happening, like, did anybody see the march, the protest on the London Bridge? I don't know if it was I don't think it was the London Bridge, but did you see how many people there were? It was like over 300,000 people, right? Protesting, marching for Palestine, marching for basically civil rights, right? And so in that moment, you think 300,000 people. It wouldn't take much for a little thing to turn into a huge thing in a short amount of time. Like it could go bad really fast when you have that large quantity of people, right? Think about it, right? The mass consciousness that happens when you're in that group energy. And so I'm bringing that up because nothing happened. So what I'm saying is, as much as we have all this Scorpio energy and people freaking out, and now I'm not saying there aren't people dying, right? Or that, yeah, there's 2 wars going on, right? There are people dying, absolutely. But at the same time, it would truly be so much worse if we were not in this energetic cocoon that we're in. And it's that, I drew it up on that other chart on a few videos ago. If you didn't see it, you got to see it, right? It's the Merkaba that we're in. Like it's like that cube energy. It's the combination of the hexagon and what do they call it? Metatron's energetic cube type thing. So whatever belief you have, whatever line of thought, but you can't deny like the connections that are here. And so for me, when I see this beautiful sextile, Jimmy, the Saturn work, training work, but authority, Uranus, something new and different. Is there a possibility there's a promotion? Now, I don't know if that's something you're looking for, but Uranus tends to be someone who stands out, someone who's in front, someone who can take charge. It does tend to be a rebel sometimes, but it promises surprises too. I will mention that. Now, maybe that means a new boss for you. Maybe you become a boss, or maybe you get a surprise. But the beautiful thing is the Saturn going forward then sextiles your Uranus, and then your natal Saturn is at 2 degrees. That's beneficial. That's beneficial supportive energy. And yes, that's for the next couple of months. Saturn's not a quick mover. You see? So this, I think, is sweet. I think it's really beneficial for you. I love sharing the good news. But getting back to the Saturn, Saturn requires time. It cautions us that if we try to take a shortcut, if we try to take the quick route to attain our long term financial security, it can take it away from us. That's Saturn's lesson. That's what it does. So the lesson with Saturn is to follow the rules, to be disciplined. Okay. And being in the first house, I often think of feet. And Saturn is about time. It's about slowing things down. So it can slow you down physically a little bit. Like if you aren't, I don't know, maybe you just bogged down with work, so you can't get out and have the fun you normally have. Saturn would do that. Absolutely. Saturn is associated with somebody older. So we might feel older because we're moving slower. One time a doctor was like, asked me, how do you feel overall in general? And I was like, I feel like my mother. And I did. I didn't know how else to explain how I felt other than to say, I feel like my mother. I was thinking of an old person who was moving really slow and lethargic, like just, yeah. And I thought, oh my God, that's Saturn totally, right? It's just Saturn. So I want to also mention prayer, organized meditations. And that is a huge part of what's going on in the world today as well, especially during this, this beautiful hexagon, magical, mystical energy that we're in. Let me check and see Chiron. You do have Chiron going backwards, Jimmy. The Chiron is in your second house of money and income. You see this right here, lit up, the green key. It's going to touch your Mercury. Your Mercury is 1551. Let me move something here and see what we got. Let me see. Mercury, yeah. So it's going to touch on it. You should already be feeling it, though, quite honestly. And because it's Aries in the second house, money and values, but it's Aries, so it's self-worth based on my appearance. And I have been doing so many charts between today and yesterday and the last couple of weeks where, oddly enough, so many people who've been asking for readings are the folks who have Aries in the second house. It's a thing. It's like people are really going through this reprioritization of their values. So our self-worth, our self-care, our self-love, and our freaking appearance, man. It's like we have to accept that as we change and mature and grow, the looks are gonna likely change, and we kind of learn to bounce with it. We kind of gotta just flow with it and be like, okay, this is the role that I'm playing right now, because that's what it is. It's what it is. We get to play a different role and just kind of embrace it and enjoy it. And maybe you have already done that. Maybe you're beyond that. But the Chiron going back to the Mercury in the second house, maybe possibly placing a value based on how much money you make per hour, right? If you have a job, if you don't have a job, right? And some people, especially Mercury in the second house, when we don't work, when we're not physically working, like we feel like we ain't worth shit. That's just the reality. We feel like, yeah, we associate our self-worth with what we do, right? And with our jobs. So the Chiron could be having conversations with your Mercury in that department as well. And what else is going to happen in the next month, the outlook? Well, Venus is going to go through your 8th house. Now, the 8th house is usually the house of transformation, and it can be releases. Okay. Now, Venus and this south node are going to connect because the south node's at 24, Venus is at 11. They're going to connect. Oops, hold on a minute. And Jimmy, I know you are good. You always treat Allastrology really well after I give you some time in the live. So I want to make sure I give you some dates on this for you to see if it's an event for you when those two meet up. And it happens pretty quickly here. Venus is not an especially slow mover. And let's see, you might have a sweet trine to it. So this will be like the end of November for you. And so I would say November 25th, November 26th. Your Chiron, it's so wild. Chiron is such a factor in your chart. This Venus is going to it's starting to trine your Chiron. So it's Gemini energy. And Gemini is about the way I think and talk and learn and communicate. And it is sales. So I don't know if you work within sales, but think of Gemini energy, social media, the stock market, the markets in general, trade, right? We think about that. Venus is going to trine that Chiron there. Okay. And at the same time, this South Node is also trining the Chiron, but the South Node is a release. And it's in your 8th house of release, releasing shared values. So whether you have something invested or whether you have a shared investment within that has to do with family and home, because your Chiron's in your 4th house, that could be housing in general, the housing market in some way, shape, or form, a release of some sort. And that trine means you don't have to do too much and that release happens. Maybe you're looking to sell. That's a possibility too, if you were looking to do some selling. But a wound about it, and hopefully a release of that wound. So it might not necessarily be connected to the material, physical, and tangible. Okay. Because the Chiron represents something from the past, your Chiron and Gemini, connected to the home and family. But it's Gemini, so that's also siblings. So if there's a wound there amongst siblings, something there, and the North Node trining it, and being in the 8th house, your 8th house, that is also about vulnerabilities and wounds. Okay. So it might be more of a emotional, some deep emotions that are buried down deep. Venus hooks up with the South Node. Usually when Venus becomes a factor, which for you, Jimmy, Venus is your greater benefic. She is a big factor. So she brings harmony and peace and beauty and goodness and abundance normally. So I think it's a blessing to have Venus going through the 8th house conjunct the South Node and trining your natal Chiron, because then Venus can somehow establish some sense of peace and harmony while that release is going on. You have a grand trine, like it's in a strong one, because your ascendant is 23 degrees in Aquarius, and you also have Salacia here at 23. You got to be already feeling this though, even though Venus hasn't joined the party yet, because the node is at 24. So there's something about a release. It might be something that you might have been a little dreamy about, or a little less realistic about possibly, or there was confusion. Because Salacia, I have her lit up here. She's at 23, 24. She's exactly being trined by the South Node right now. And she's about dreams and fantasy and possibly make-believe, or just simply confusion about a thing. She is on your ascendant, you see? So this is a time where when the nodes are involved, we go with the flow. We don't want to fight it. It's the universe's way of saying, of like being the traffic controller and saying, oh, I understand you want to go straight, but no one's going straight right now. We're all taking a U-turn, or we're all taking this detour. And so we just follow the rules, right? And that's what the South Node looks like is doing here for you. There's some sort of a release, and there might be a veil, like illusions, or the glasses are taken off, because the South Node is going to help release that illusion. It's not even just Salacia. It's that Salacia kind of getting a bit of your 12th house affected too, because she's close to the ascendant. And it's the illusions about yourself and your appearance and your location. Friends might be involved as well, but something unique and different about yourself. And this would also then be that release of dreams of maybe being that Salacia, Pisces, same thing. So maybe actor, performer energy, the South Node touching on that and saying, maybe we're going to not pursue that, because there's a grand earth trine grand air trine supporting this release. Wow. Okay. This is big. That's big. That's a big thing. Again, it's not a big thing in terms of like you're physically losing something. It's really about your thoughts, the way you think, your ideas, your mentality. It's all in air, right? So it's how you think about yourself, the thoughts about yourself, the plans, the ideas, uh, and then the partnership energy, the partnership with yourself. And that eighth house feeds you from past lifetimes too. So it's not just the fact of who you think you are in this lifetime, but you're getting information from your soul. How about that? That might interfere with your belief if I say a past lifetime. So your soul's history and your soul's memory. Let me check your Mercury real quick. You're going to have a Mercury retrograding. I mean, we all are. And there's a video coming up about that, guys. But Mercury starts its retrogrades in the fire signs for 2024. The first one is going to be happening in Saggy, but it's at the last butt end of Sagittarius. So that's your 10th house of career, but it dips into your 11th house and it touches your Neptune. Ah. Okay. So this is your December Mercury. That's why I was here on Mercury, because your Neptune is going to get touched by Mercury. This Mercury is going to retrograde. She's going to go all the way to 10 and then she's going to retrograde back. So this means all these planets I already talked about, your Uranus, your Saturn, all this Capricorn stuff, this Mercury, you're thinking about work. You're thinking about long-term goals and ambitions. And there's something with friends and group energy, could be online, digital, all the digital stuff in whatever way that works for you, commodities, whatever. There's something here that's going to be happening. And remember, it's a Mercury retrograde, so you're changing. You're not making any solid decisions or any major decisions during that time. That's going to be important. I will get you can email me for the exact dates on that for you so that I can pinpoint it, because you have a lot of planets here. So I can be a little bit more precise for you on that. And that's going to affect your second house of income and your eighth house, because this is your cardinal energy, Capricorn. You got a lot there. You're so intuitive, Jimmy. This explains why you're here tonight. Like, something's up. But it's affecting all this stuff. The good news is your natal Mercury will not be part of this. That's your natal Mercury's at 15 in Aries. So this is good. This is good. At the end of it all, it's about just waiting until this Mercury gets done with the retrograde. And I happen to know that's not going to be till January, but I'll get you the exact dates if you want that. I'm sure you're going to want it. But yeah, it'll affect your values. And it could just be your values about yourself. But because your Capricorn energy is affected, I think it's a little bit more than that. Okay. Oh, I didn't even read your thing. I'm sorry. I was thinking about doing acting with social media. So could that be where I don't focus anymore? Yeah. Yeah, I agree, because it looks like a release to that, because Salacia is going to have a big release there, Jimmy. And she's on your ascendant. And that's why the dancing and the acting, that's why that is such a prominent thing for you, because she's on your ascendant at 23. So that's why for you, you feel like that's who you are. And so it might not be you're throwing the whole thing out. It's not like the baby and the bathwater. It might be just changing the bathwater. It might be that kind of a release, but whatever it is, you're not going to have to try very hard at it. There's something here that is just going to no longer a tool that you use. It's not going to be an idea that you have any longer. Something you're releasing, and the node is going to guide this. And so will Venus, because they're going to meet up. Yeah, because the social media is definitely part of this, because of the Gemini stuff and the wound and the Chiron. I think it's going to be a natural process for you. Does this make sense? So maybe the trade deal is a pipe dream. Oh, you do work in sales. Okay, I do have some investments going on, but still praying we get this foreign trade deal going. Well, when you say foreign trade, look, Mercury is trade. Mercury rules Gemini. And when you say foreign, that is Sagittarius. There's going to be a retrograde. It's dealing exactly with that. It's Mercury in your 10th house in Saggy, then going into your 11th in Capricorn, but then backing up. So there will be delays, and we won't have any clear answers until that retrograde is over. And You can come back next week and I can then pull up your chart and look strictly just, if you want, I can look strictly just at the after the Mercury retrograde is over event for you, because I would rather honor a little bit more detailed time to that, and then see where that looks and see how it looks and see what else is where at that time. Yeah, especially since you're talking about something that's, yeah, well, it's talking about money, damn it. That's something that's worth looking into a little bit more detailed. No, I don't think it's about the trade deal being a pipe dream. I think it's what you hit it on the head. It was the dream about maybe the dancing and the acting or whatever you said, because it's entertainment. It's Salacia. It's being the performer. But it will be guided by the South Node in Venus. And maybe the money part is in there because Venus does have to do with money and business partnerships while it's in Libra. That might be, you're going to have an answer because we're talking, this is November 25th. And literally by the end of November, the node and Venus are connected and they're talking to your Salacia. So you're only waiting a couple of weeks to get clarity on this, because the Mercury stuff isn't going to happen until December begins. So we're waiting. Make sense? So yeah, I will take a look at that. End of November, you got the sun at your midheaven. Okay, that's nice. That's very nice. That lights something up. It's about your goals and your future. The difference is knowing that Mercury has a lot of people to talk to before the plan gets a green light. The thing is that when that Mercury hits Neptune can make something end. Like it can make it disappear, right? But then Mercury goes backwards and then it goes forward again. But when it goes forward again, it's going to touch your Neptune yet again. I'll have to go back and look at all those other charts. There should be other charts for you. I'll have to look at those to see April 13th. Yeah, I'll have to go look back and see what cycle you're in and all that stuff. I'll have to look at other charts. I would anyway, if it was me. I would be like, please look at the other charts, G. That's not a problem. All right. Just email me, Jimmy, so that I can remember what I'm doing. I hope this has helped.